Hello and welcome to this 7th Advanced BlitzPlus tutorial by Orange Moon Network. In this tutorial I will be showing you how to animate your character in the RPG game. If this is the first tutorial you've seen, go back to the start of the advanced ones, otherwise this won't make much sense. First of all, there is just a few things I need to change in the program. If you copied it down exactly as I did, there was just a little bug in the program. If you come down to the bottom in the move character function, after it says else if key down to a 5, it should be chart R, and also under key down to 103 it should be chart L equals 1 and chart R equals 2. So that'll just fix a little bug, and I'm sorry about that. And now we can get on to animating our character, so it was just 2D picture, but now we can animate it, which is why we drew the borders around the character. So let's go back into Paint. So here's a character, and you got to know the size of your image. So ours is 25 by 39, and we need to know this so that we can multiply the number of images, because to animate it we draw the individual frames which puts together so it looks like a little video, and I'll be using 6 frames per direction, and 5 of the frames will be for it moving and 1 of it will be the stationary pose. So to do this we're going to extend the width so that it is 6 times what it already was. So mine's 25, which means that the width should be 150, so I'll put that in. So these will be all the frames for the character moving up the screen. So what I will do is create more frames. So all you do is you use the rectangle, I'll do that, rectangular select to select the red outline, copy it, edit, copy, and then paste, and then put this frame next to it. Make sure that there's a double line between them, don't overlap them like that. So do that, and then once you've copied and pasted them all, so now we've got 6, you can modify these different images so it'll run from left to right here, and make sure it's loopable. So you move the legs up and down so that the character looks like it's walking. So here I've modified these images so it looks like it's walking. I'm not an artist or anything, so it's not for anything special, but just as long as you get the motion right and have it decent, you can do whatever you want. Just make sure that the frames are equal size and go across this way, and it's best if you use 6 I have. So this will be stationary and then it loops through the last 5, so that'll be easier when we put it into our program. And next up we need to extend downwards to have the 4 different sets of the directions. So we'll add 3 more, because when Blitz looks for all the frames it will go from left to right, and then when it gets to the end it will naturally go down and look for more, and it's just an easy way to lay it out if we put the other frames below it. So I'll extend downwards by doing attribute, so 39, so I need to do 4 times that, which is 156, and similarly with you, times it by 4, and then select those frames, copy, paste, and make sure there's no overlap so you get the double line between, and do that. And in fact you might as well just do these 3 sets. So these will be when he's facing towards us, again the first one being the stationary pose, and these will be when he's walking to the right. Actually, sorry, these will be the ones where he's walking to the left, and I'll show you why. We don't need to do the 4th one, so just pause and create your images. I know it's very time consuming, so you might want to look on the internet if there's any free ones. So these are mine done. They're nothing special, but I've just given him a little sort of weapon there to work with. Now the reason we didn't have to do the last set is because if on Paint you select the frames here like this, and then copy and paste from here. With them still selected, if you go image, flip horizontal, then we've got all the frames done for the character going to the right as well. Whereas here I would be using this frame as the stationary one, but we can include that in the code. So save that, and now let's go back to Blitz. And now instead of just loading the character as an image, we change the command to load animated image. So you just type anim between the load and image, and if we click somewhere else, you'll see that's a command. And remember, if you click in a command and press F1, it gives you the parameters of what you need to put in. So you need to put the files. We've got that char. Now you do comma and the cell width. Well, I know that's 25 for mine. You can find that out by just looking at the corner of each frame and of the first frame and seeing in the bottom right of Paint what the numbers are. So mine's 25 by 39, and then you need first, and that just wants to know what you're going to call the first one, and we'll just leave that as 0. And then count, so how many frames there are. So we've got 24 because we've done 4 lots of 6. And now we're going to create a new variable to keep track of what frame it's on. So we'll add that global char f, and we put a hash symbol because that means it is this hash creates the variable to be a floating point or a float, and that means it can store decimals, and that's because if you just progress through the frames one by one, it goes too quickly, so you'll progress by say 0.1 each time, and then it will slowly increment. So now when we go down to the function draw character, if you click on draw image and press F1, you'll see there's a parameter that's optional called frame. Well, because it's an anim image, if we do comma char f, it'll draw it in that current frame. And now we are going to change the frame in the game. So if we go down to when it's moving to the left, press enter, and here we'll say char f equals char f plus, and the one that works best for me is 0.01, because otherwise he moves too fast and you can't see him moving. But also what we need to do is say if the frame is bigger than 5, then we'll say it equals 1. So once it's got to the 5th frame, it will loop back, and it's actually okay if it loops back to the first one in this case. So it'll do the loop for that, and we shall also copy this for when the character's moving within the move character function, because otherwise it would just sometimes be animated and sometimes not. Okay, so now we'll do the same thing for moving down. So we can say if the frame is bigger than 11, then we'll make it equal 7, and if it's smaller than 7, then we'll make it go back to 7 again, and same as before, we'll increment the frame by 0.01, and I've just realised I missed out the plus there. Okay, so what that means is if it's some frame around here, it'll go back to here, or if it's beneath here, the frame will go to here. So once it's gone up to here, it'll get past and then loop again, so he continues to walk. And again, I'll copy and paste that to when he's moving down in the move char function as well. And now I'll do the same thing for the other two here. Okay, so I've just added in this section and this section, so get those down. And when it refers to these different frames, when it says 23, that actually means the 24th frame, because the very first frame is set to 0. So here, when it says the frame equals 1, then that's actually the second one. So that's frame 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on up to 23. So if you got a little bit confused with the numbers, then that's why it starts with the first one being referred to as 0, and that is what this first means in the anim image. Okay, so now I've done all the frames for move map. I'll apply the same thing to move char. So all you need to do is copy these two down to when it's moving left and right with the char x -1. Okay, so I'm just copy and pasting this, and I hope you can follow this. So I'll just indent that. Okay, so so here's the functions now. So just, if you're a bit confused, just pause it now and make sure you got the same code. And the same here, pause, and down to there. Okay, so let's have a look at this now. Let's save it and make sure your animation image is saved in the same folder as the Blitz is saved. So let's run this, and it says expecting end if. So that is telling me that something's wrong, so this is debugging now. So it'll take me to a line where a cursor's flashing, and that's up there, and that's because I did the same mistake when I copied it. I missed the plus. So let's save it and try and run it again and hope it works this time. Okay, so now let's move him up. That was too fast, I couldn't actually see. Let's move him down. As you can see, my character is moving, so you see him walking, and it is working. So I hope it's working for you as well. And I've just noticed there is a problem with him walking to the left when the background's moving. You see here he's not moving, so I will sort that out now. And I can see the error is in this function, because it should be when it's bigger than 17, then it goes back to 13. So move map, you need to change this number to 13, and it'll be the same in move char. Sorry, there's a lot of errors, but this is a debugging process for you, so make sure you change it in the move char function as well. And now when I run it, he walks to the left, fine. And the final thing is, see, sometimes when I stop it, he's still walking. Well, we created these stationary frames so that when he's not moving anymore, he should just go back to still. So we can sort this out by creating a new variable, and we will call this one dir for direction. And I'll add it here, dir, and that'll be 1. And what all we'll do is every time he's moving in a certain direction, so where here when he's moving to the right, sorry, this is the left, I say dir equals 1, and then each time he's moving, so now he's moving to the, oh sorry, here he was moving up, now here he's moving down. At this place he's moving to the left, and this place the right. So I'm just giving each direction that he's currently going in a value, and same in the other function as well. And if you've been following the old tutorials, you know I've got two functions of them moving. It's depending on whether the character's moving or if it's the background, but either way we still want him to look like he's actually walking. So now I've set up so which direction you're going in, it'll be stored as this direction variable. Now all I'll do is at the end I'll add another else if. So after it's checked if it's moving in any direction, if you're pressing any of the keys, I'll just do another check. So else if not key down 200, or key down 203, or key down 205, or key down 208. So what it's doing is checking that it's making sure that you're not pressing anything whatsoever, and if you're not, then we're going to do the select command. So we'll select the variable and say if it's 1, then we want the character's frame to be at 0 here, so it's stationary from moving upwards. Case 2, we'll make the frame 6 for this one when he's moving down. If it's 3, then we'll make the frame 12 for this one when he's moving to the left. But finally, you'd expect it to be 18, and if you just draw your own images and you didn't flip it, it may well be 18 for you, but for me up to the right, the frame's actually 23, the last one, because if you remember I flipped this one round, so which you may have done as well if you followed me, so in that case it'll be 23. Okay, and the statement and select, and now finally if I run the program, so he's walking, when I stop he immediately goes back to stationary stance, so he's not just stood in mid-walk, if you can see that. He just goes back to how he was. Okay, and now finally, those red lines were just guidelines, so you know where the different frames are, but we can just go and paint, fill, select black, get rid of the red lines, save your image, open Blitz again, and now you have your very own RPG with your animated character and your own customizable map. And in future tutorials I will be showing you various cool things such as creating items, enemies, scores, money, saving the game, things like that, hopefully if I do make more. So thank you for watching the ones so far, and I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope you've been able to follow them and that your programs work. Remember to comment, like and subscribe, and thank you for being patient in this very long video. It's taken a while to do. This is the longest one so far. These advanced ones have been much longer than the old ones. These are now 10 minutes and this one's almost 18 minutes. So thank you for being patient, but I wanted to make sure that everything's made clear. So thanks for watching.